J.B. Pritzker just punched Trump in the face. I thought the most important point Pritzker made, and you made it in your article, and I focused on it entirely in mine today, was that Pritzker said that one of Trump's goals was to end elections. Remember when he said, vote for me at this time and you'll never have to vote again?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I saw your newsletter, and you're on my show tonight, so we'll talk about it in more length when you come on to the show. And if you didn't know that, you are on my show tonight. I just forced you on.
Thank you. always happy to be on your show, Dean.
To me, there were two big things. One was the end of the election, and the second was Pritzker saying, I'm going to use my powers as governor to go after anyone who violates our law here in the state of Illinois, because Trump can't pardon you for state crimes. I think that's very important as an aside quickly, because we need Trumpers and federal agents to understand there's skin in the game. Trump will pardon them for federal crimes. He can't pardon them for state crimes. And Pritzker made that very clear. He didn't say that exact words, but he said, we will come after you if you violate our laws. That was important. But going back to ending the elections, yes, this is a test run. In 2026, Trump will send the military 100% to voting areas to intimidate black and brown voters. And Tom, I think perhaps what Michael Flynn told Trump to do after 2020, have the military go up and round up the voting machines while they're being counted. And how do we stop it if it's the military doing it? And all Trump has to say is there's fraud, and his base will be fine, and the Supreme Court will uphold it. That's the America that we live in today. Yeah,
and if he takes just a handful of blue cities, I mean, you know, Minneapolis, if you pull out Minneapolis and Milwaukee, Wisconsin goes red. If you pull out Chicago, Illinois goes red. If you pull out Atlanta, Georgia goes red. If you pull out Dallas and Houston, Texas, well, Texas was always red. You pull out L.A. and San Francisco, California goes red. I mean, you know, it's really pretty remarkable when you look at some of these maps. And it sure looks to me like that's exactly what he has in mind. What say you?
I agree. He's trying to rig the election, one, in front of us by doing this gerrymandering mid-decade because he is panicked about losing. He seems the same polls we do. He's unpopular, his ideas are. And the backup plan, just like with the January 6th attack, you had first the legal methods, and then the January 6th attack was the backup plan. The backup plan here, again, is use brute force. Use the military, use National Guard to prevent voting, to take voting machines away, to declare victory. And I think ultimately, Tom, to not tell Republicans in the House, don't seat Democrats who win elections. And these are fights down the road. But I don't want to say this in any way to dissuade people. Let's go out and control what we can. We come out, we register, we vote, we knock on doors, we make phone calls. We win the election. The lawyers know what's going on. The legal part's going to take care of itself. It's not a surprise. We have a year and plus runway. So let's get ready now. DNC has to get ready. Lawyers have to be ready. They are. What we're saying is not a secret. And we just have to prepare for this. And our job is to make sure everyone gets out and vote. We win the election, and then we can fight the legal stuff. And we might have to go into the streets. It might get really unlike anything we've seen after an election in the United States of America.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about that, Dean. I really am. And although we have seen things like this before, it was in the era from the 1830s to the 1860s in the South. So here we are again.
You're right. Yes, there's some books on that very point. Just when I was saying that, I'm like, I read a book about, I can't recall the state right now, but it's famous about the violence used after elections in Louisiana and other places in the South and during the time of right before the Civil War and after the Civil War.
Yeah. I wrote a book about it, The Hidden History of American Oligarchy. The South ceased to be a democracy by the mid 1840s. And, opposition politicians were routinely lynched. Opposition newspapers were shut down. Their editors and writers fled into the North. And that's where Trump wants to take us back to. The GOP just killed 2 children and sent 17 others to the hospital in wherever this is, in Minneapolis. The GOP just did this. And Democrats need to be laying the blame at the feet of Republicans, because if it wasn't for Republicans, we would not have weapons of war on the streets of our cities. So now 14 children injured, 3 adults injured, 2 children dead in Minneapolis. Do you expect even one Republican to call for gun control now?
No, of course not. But what they will do, and I don't know, since we've come on air, if we know the identity of the shooter, if what they will do is talk about whatever group the shooter is from, to demonize that group and pass laws against that group. Well, I'm not even going to. We haven't heard anything.
Unless the shooter's a Republican, in which case it'll get
Right.
largely ignored. But you know, the corollary question, Dean Obeidallah, is: do you expect that the Democrats will be out there pointing out that this shooting would not have happened if it wasn't for 3 decades of Republican policies, gun control policies?
I think some Democrats will, but look, there have been a lot of shootings, and Democrats have, over the years, said the right things over and over with passion, and it's not moved much. There was one bipartisan gun legislation that passed under Biden. It did a little stuff. I had Senator Murphy talk to him about it. He was proud of his involvement in it. But for sweeping federal gun control legislation, we're not going to get that until you get rid of big money in politics, end the filibuster, and have a Supreme Court that will not strike it down. Because you could pass it right now, Tom, but this Supreme Court, I have zero doubt, would strike it down.
Yeah.
So there's so much here. It's like big money in politics. Democrats are sincere, most of them, not all of them, not the Wall Street Democrats. The others get big money out of politics. We don't have the votes for it because of the corporate Democrats, and we don't have the seats in the Supreme Court to uphold it. We had our Supreme Court, I'm telling you, in 2028, Democrats running for president, reforming, whatever they want to call it, the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
has to
running against.
priorities.
Oh, Republicans have been running against the courts since Nixon.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think it's, well, since 1954, really, and since Eisenhower. I think it's really important to run against the Supreme Court. I'm with you.